The Pokemon trading card game is something I never really understood as a kid. And now, here I am at the ripe old age of 29, diving right back into the fray. To keep things interesting, I'm going to stick to buying sealed product. No trades, no singles, no easy way out. With a budget of just $50 a week, I'm going to build the best competitive deck I can, and see how it stacks up against the pros. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope the first few weeks of the Darkness Ablaze meta are treating you well. By now, most of us have probably been blown up by an Eternatus VMAX, and while that may sting in the short term, I think we can all wear it as a badge of honor, really. It's no shame to lose to a deck that can hit you for 270 on turn 2. I mean, really. You're gonna take the L sometimes. Looking forward to this week. Our deck is in a bit of a weird spot, as is the idea of playing Pikarom more generally. What I'm looking at right now is what Pikarom offers versus the field of terrifying VMAX-based decks. Because at this point, with the exception of like Decidueye or the few Baby Blounds that are still floating around, it is basically a VMAX's world. And, you know, we got to look at what are our strengths, what are the advantages we have over those decks. And to be honest, it's a little tricky. Damage output, I mean, obviously we lose to Eternatus right then and there. Pikarom's 150 or 200 used to be a lot, but that takes 3 energy. And again, Eternatus hits 270 for 2 energy as soon as the opponent's second turn. So, not going to work. In terms of longevity, well, obviously Pikarom also loses because 240 HP is just not what it used to be, not with values on the low end for VMAXs at 300 and the high end at 340. Again, Eternatus VMAX and I think Snorlax VMAX as well, taking the cake there. In terms of flexibility even, I don't know that Pikarom is necessarily there. Decks like Inteleon, for example, can do a lot of different things. They have energy acceleration through Frostmoth. They have energy denial if they want to. They have item lock. They can also snipe the bench more consistently than we can, though for less damage initially, right? Really, I don't know. It's hard to say what Pikarom does well. Its energy acceleration is still pretty good. Tapu Koko Prism Star is still fantastic, and when you can get the full blitz off, you know, you are in a very threatening position. But even there, Centiskorch VMAX and the Welder engine give you a good run for your money, especially when Centiskorch VMAX can accelerate to itself after using its attack. So, I don't know. It's a little troubling too, because where we're at now, digging around mostly in Darkness Ablaze, there aren't a lot of cards that can do much for Pikarom. Like, I am literally just looking to pull Vikavolt V and Crobat V. There is not much else in that expansion that's going to do much for the deck, but I can't afford to miss out on those 2 cards because, you know, they give us item lock, which is a great alternative for the deck, and the Crobat will give us some much needed consistency, which we are sorely lacking right now. So all that in mind, we're just going to jump into opening up some packs, and hopefully, we can give the deck the big boost it needs. Because if not, it is going to be uphill from here. Okay, ladies and gents, you know the drill by now. I was still able to get a couple of these 2 packs here for their fantastic value, about $6.50 each, so a little more expensive than the ones I opened last time. Was only able to get 7 in total. But, you know, still great value for what it is, which means we'll get to crack 14 packs in total. So, I'll just get that one cracked out there. And there we go. So, we're still hunting for Vikavolt V. That's the big chase card. Crobat V would also be fantastic for that extra consistency. And, I don't know, whatever else we can get is fantastic as well. So, why don't we... You know what, let's start with Sword and Shield. Why not? Why not? I just kind of want to see if we can get anything interesting out of there. 4, right? I always forget what the thing is to get the rares. All right. We got our Grass Energy, Ordinary Rod, Bead, Hitmonlee, Krabby, Cufant, Baltoy, Salandit, Galarian Ponyta, Cottony, Inteleon. Okay. Follow Inteleon. If we want to build a Decidueye Inteleon deck, that might be fun. Otherwise, nothing really in there we can use. Okay. First up, the Darkness Ablaze. Oh god, I think I saw a fancy border there. Alright, well, we will find out shortly. Okay, we got our Psychic Energy, Rose, Vanillish, Poltegeist, Larvitar, oh god, Grimer, Galarian Darumaka, Sentret, Rowlet, Galarian Darumaka, and Muck. Oh, I guess I was wrong. Oop. That's embarrassing. Okay, let's crack into another Sword and Shield. If it'll let me open it up. There we go. You know, I found it funny. I wonder if people just trick themselves into thinking these things actually have a high hit rate. Because I know a lot of people, when they were opening on YouTube, you know, they were pulling some crazy stuff. But then you always kind of have to be suspicious of these things, right? Okay, and a different Inteleon. You know, I think people probably open a ton. And they just save the most fire, as they say, openings for the camera. That, or, you know, especially if Nintendo sends people stuff, I always like to be a little more cautious about that, because it's like they have an incentive, you know, to pack the packs with like holos, really nice cards, right? Oh, I did see something there. Ooh. Let's see. Oh, not the V we're looking for. Not the V we're looking for. Cute. Very nice. I do have a soft spot for Butterfree, but we are not building a Butterfree deck, so sorry, Buggo, but nothing I can do with you. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Lightning Energy, Rare Candy, Lucky Egg, Mantine, Yamper, Clobopus, Cottony, Chootle, Rhyhorn, Ninetales, Durant, Bubkus. Oh, there really isn't much for a Pikarom deck in these sets, is there? I mean, I guess there is still the Tapu Koko and Sword and Shield, but Rebel Clash I feel like had a lot more, because that had the Speed Lightning Energies as well as Boltund, right? Here, I don't know, here I think we're just trying to make the best of some tough sets. Lunatone, Simipour, Spikemuth, Birdkeeper, Bonesweet, Dunsparce, Electrike, Galarian Mr. Rime, Grimer, Parasect, and Klinklang for the rare. I mean, the Birdkeeper could be interesting. It's another switching option. We never played Escape Skateboard, but hey, you know, on the turns we don't need to hit a boss or anything else. It's a few extra cards we can see, right? And it's another way to get Jirachi out of the active. So, who knows? Maybe not completely useless there. Okay. Lightning Energy, Lumberry, Aurora Energy, Dubwool, Chinchou, Krabby, Mincino, Galarian Ponyta, Cottony, Yamper, and the wrong kind of Boltund. Nope. Nothing we can use. Darn. It's a rough one this week, ladies and gents. Very rough one this week. I think we're paying for the lucky pulls we had grabbing that Eternatus and Eternatus VMAX the first the first time we cracked into this set. But who knows. Alright, another Lightning Energy. Simsear, Laron, Old PC, Hippopotas, Golett, Skitty, Dino, Jigglypuff, Carablast, and Lugia. Nothing. So many Lightning Energy in a row. It's kind of like the packs are mocking us, you know? It's like, hey, I know you're looking for stuff to go with these energies, but it ain't happening, buddy. It ain't happening. Oh, okay. Ooh, almost got a paper cut there. Might actually have gotten a paper cut there. Oh well. Nobody was harmed in the making of this video. Forward to the front. Okay. Metal Energy, Raboot, another Lumberry, another Aurora Energy, Pincurchin, Vulpix, Nickit, Baltoy, Chinchou, Muna, and a Corviknight. Oh. Oh, this is rough. This is rough, ladies and gents. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we got. Another Rose. So much hate. It's just for VMAX. No love for the tag teams. Carnivine, Cape of Toughness, Powerful Colorless Energy, Fletchling, Larry Mr. Rhyme. Oh, jeez, I think I see something there. Okay. Torchic, Aeron, Rookidee, Thievul. Ah. You are not the V we're looking for. That one is really nice, though. It'll go nicely with the set Scorch we pulled last week. But still, we are not building a welder deck, so what are we gonna do? I'm almost afraid we're gonna have to do something radical here to, you know, survive. Was that 3 to the front or 4? Oh, whatever, we're about to find out. Oh, there we go. Psychic Energy, Eldegoss, Energy Search, Quickball, Silicobra, Yamper, Krabby. Oh no, that's just a dark Pokemon. Cufant, Baltoy, Nickit, and a Lapras. Ugh, these Sword and Shield packs are brutal. Only pulled, I mean, not even good stuff for the deck necessarily, just pulled interesting stuff out of the Darkness Ablaze. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Ras, Rose Tower, Simisear, Laron, Diglett, Vampor, Spinarak, Bonsweet, Dunsparce, Yellhorn, and another Lugia. Ugh. Rough. I mean, the Rose Tower might be okay. Like, it's a way to get a bit more drawing in. Like, Pikarom does have the ability to dump its hand pretty easily with all the stuff you got going on there, but I don't know. That's a bit of a tough sell for me. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Another Lightning Energy. Hitmonlee, Salazzle, Metal Saucer, Krogunk, Galarian Meowth, Scorbunny, Sinistea, Maractus, Ghastly, and a Galarian Obstagoon. Sealed only goons, anybody. Alright, last pack. Oh, please let there be a Vikavolt in here. I need something. I need something, ladies and gents, for the deck this week. The only thing I'm subbing in is Birdkeeper. I'm going to be very miffed. There's a Water Energy, Clang, Gothorita, Piers, Electrike, Galarian Mr. Rhyme, Grimer, Clink, Skitty, Cubchoo, and a Dracozolt. Oh, man. This is rough. This is very, very rough. I don't know that we got anything we could put... yeah, I don't know if we got anything we could use this week. I mean, that doesn't apply. That applies to Boltund. Wow. 14 packs and a whole lot of nothing. That, I don't know why you would do that. That just, oh god, that really hurts. That actually really, really hurts. I don't know if I've been this disappointed in a long time, to be frank. Oh. Quickball. Not like we don't have a ton of those already, but... Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, nothing really. Nothing really we can use. A couple of nice picks for the binder, okay, but... oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, look at that. They came out a little nicked up too, but hey, what can you do? Okay, maybe I sub in the Rose Tower. The Lucky Eggs didn't really do anything for me last week, but hey, and then Birdkeeper. Okay, well, let me play around and see what we can do. But that is a really disappointing opening this week. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what I can make of it. So, not the most spectacular opening in history, but at least we have enough stadiums to play, you know, a few, right? Our opponent can't just put up their stadium with impunity. And, you know, at least the stadiums we have now offer a little bit of draw power. And I do mean just a little bit. So, you know, looking at the list, obviously not much has changed. I've added the Rose Towers that we pulled this week and last week just to give us that extra little bit of draw power. You know, especially while we're decimating our hands in order to search through our deck. The basic strategy hasn't really changed. It's get a ton of energy into play as soon as possible and pray that a well-timed energy switch will let us use Full Blitz. That's literally it. And a ton of switching cards, even if they take up valuable supporter slots. Because without a skateboard or anything like that, leaving Jirachi in the active can cost you some critical turns, so as much as possible, we need to be able to switch around. And it's also helpful for, you know, getting Tandem Shock live if we're, you know, taking the Raichu route. And really, that's about it for the deck, so, you know, let's take what we've got this week and jump into some games. Game 1 is about as close as you can get to the ideal execution of this bizarre Pikarom deck. Our opponent leads with Sableye V, and we have Jirachi in the active. So I need to blow up the Sableye in the active as soon as possible, so I start digging like crazy. A Speed Lightning Energy onto Pikarom lets me see more cards right off the bat, but nothing I can use to dig much more besides another Jirachi. I have to go for Stellar Wish here, and luckily it gets me into a Professor's Research, which is not perfect, but good enough. I slap on the Big Charm in hand for safety, and then dump my hand with Professor's Research to see 7 fresh cards. I get a pair of Quickballs with another energy switch, so the combo is theoretically still possible. I pitch a Hoopa to get Tapu Koko Prism Star, and slap down a Boltund V while I'm at it. Dance of the Ancients gets energy onto Pikarom and Boltund, allowing me to energy switch onto Pikarom to be fully charged. I use the Quickball to grab a Dedenne because I don't want to be top decking next turn, and then I use the switch in hand to bounce Pikarom into the active, and then I slap down the chunky orange rat to see 6 new cards. Now, at this point, I just want to go super aggressive because there's a good chance with those Zigzagoon Pings, or if a Weezing or a Roxy tossing some Weezings come down, my Pikarom is getting KO'd next turn. So I just go for it and burn the GX attack. Luckily for me, the moment I KO that Sableye V, my opponent scoops. Game 2 pits us against a good old-fashioned Firebox. Our opponent starts with a board of Ninetales V, Victini V, Heatran GX, and Charizard and Breaks and Tag Team GX. Oddly enough, they just attach a single fire energy to Victini and pass the turn. Now, I have Jirachi in the active, and right away I build out a board with Hoopa and Raichu. A Speed Lightning Energy lets me see a lot more Lightning Energies, and then a Stellar Wish gets me an energy switch. I start looking really hard, but I don't know how smoothly I can get my ideal combo off. I throw down the random Rose Tower and then decide to just slap down Dedenne GX to see some fresh cards. I get some interesting stuff, including an Electromagnetic Radar, but I've used my Dedenne change for the turn, so I can't dig that much more. I decide to just grab another Dedenne, purely to thin the deck out, and then I pop the switch to get the new Jirachi into the active. I use Rose Tower, and that draws me into Professor's Research, so I can keep digging. Now, at this point, I've burned through half my deck, but I don't really care. I finally get a Quickball and use that to grab Tapu Koko Prism Star, and immediately proc its effect to accelerate energy to the Hoopa and the Raichu. I also use Stellar Wish to grab a switch, and then I swing in with Hoopa for chip damage. Now, luckily for me, my opponent whiffs the Welder, so they just attach and go for the energy burst. But, because there were only 3 energies in play total, my Hoopa lives. And now, that previous damage becomes pretty important as I get enough energy to use a Tandem Shock, and with Mallow and Lana in hand, I can swing in with the Raichus to KO the Victini. Now, funny enough, I actually get both Pikaroms off of the prizes, which to me is hilarious, and a relief because it means I don't have to use Raichu to fight the entire match. My opponent brings up the Ninetales, but they actually decide to attach to the Charizard and Braixen and then pass. Now, I don't have much to do either, so I just sting the Ninetales with the Tandem Shock and it's back to my opponent. My opponent whiffs the Welder again, settling for another manual attachment to Charizard and Braixen and adding an air balloon to it just in case. A giant Hearth also comes down, so now they can pick up the pace a bit in terms of energy acceleration. On my turn, I get a Speed Lightning Energy, which draws me into a Tag Switch, and that means that Raichu's GX attack is live. Now, while I'd rather use Tag Bolt, the opportunity is too good to pass up, so I KO the Ninetales and tag out into a Jirachi. Charizard and Braixen come into the active, and that's followed by a Welder. But they don't have another fire energy in hand, so instead of going for the big 180 damage, they just waste their GX attack, leaving Jirachi confused and burned, which is not the worst thing in the world. Right away, I grab a Marnie off the Stellar Witch, and I use an energy switch to get some juice back onto Pikarom. Then I Marnie, and unfortunately I have to pass after failing to get a switch. On my opponent's turn, they slap down Lieutenant Surge's strategy, which is really bad news because it means that a potential Welder and Boss's orders might be incoming. They actually just Welder to the active and then finally incinerate Jirachi while grabbing 2 cards from their deck. On my turn, I Stellar Wish right away to grab the switch, and then I slap them with the reset stamp just to deny them whatever it was they searched for. And that done, I use the switch to swing in with the Raichus and stun the Charizard and Braixen with a Tandem Shock. Looking at my hand, I have the boss's orders in hand, so next turn, as long as nothing funny happens, I should be able to get the game-winning KO. On my opponent's turn, they start digging like mad, but ultimately they don't come up with anything. So I tag out the Raichus with the Birdkeeper of all things, and bring in Pikarom for the game-winning Full Blitz. Game 3 is another match against the Big Metal Doggo, Zacian V. I lead with a pair of Jirachi while my opponent has just the Doggo out. They slap down an air balloon and go for an Intrepid Sword right away, and they're very lucky because they managed to get 3 metal energies attached to the Zacian, priming it for a turn 2 attack. Now, I know I'm guaranteed to lose something next turn, so I just try to set up my board as best as possible. I use an Electromagnetic Radar to grab Pikarom and Dedenne GX. Stellar Wish also grabs me a Quickball, so Tapu Koko comes flying in. I pop my other Jirachi into the active with Switch, just in case my Dedenne change leaves me high and dry. Off the Dedenne switch, I see Energy Switch, Rose Tower, and not much else. So I go for the Stellar Wish and find Mallow and Lana, which is okay. I use it to bring in another Jirachi and Stellar Wish again for a Quick Ball. I grab the Raichus and then pop Dance of the Ancients to accelerate to Pikarom and Dedenne. The energy switch comes down and I prime Pikarom for the next turn. And with that done, I've got nothing more to do, so I just pass it to my opponent. Another Zacian comes down, and then my opponent goes for the Brave Blade right away, slicing Jirachi to bits. I decide to put Pikarom up into the active and just go for the full blitz because I realize I need to accelerate some energy to the Raichus right away because they've got a ton of HP, and worst comes to worst, I can try to stall for time by stunning the Zacians. My opponent, however, heals Zacian with Pokemon Center Lady, and then does some very fancy switching work in order to bring the original Doggo back in to smack me with a Brave Blade again. And at this point I'm getting desperate because Pikarom is imminently going to get KO'd, so I attach to Pikarom and actually burn a lot of those precious energies to pivot out into a Tandem Shock, which, yes, is good enough to fry the pooch in the active. Now, a fresh Zacian comes in and just goes for the Brave Blade, putting the Raichus in KO range. I actually use a switch to just go back in and stun the Zacian with Tandem Shock, because at this point I really do need to just stun it and force my opponent to at least waste some resources in an attempt to get it out of the active and bring it back in for the attack. And honestly, even if they can't attack, it's just some extra damage that will help me guarantee the KO if I have to bring up Pikarom or something else. Now, luckily for me, they don't actually draw into any other Pokemon or supporters or anything. They just leave the Zacian in the active, oddly enough attaching a 4th Metal Energy, and then they pass it back to me. On my turn, I use a Professor's Research to see some fresh cards, and I actually managed to set up my own fancy little switch play, switching out and then switching back in order to get the game-winning Tandem Shock. And that wraps up this week's adventure with the weirdest little Pikarom deck on the PTCGO ladder. To be honest, I don't think the deck is in good shape, but it's at least functional for now, which is all I can ask for. I am pretty desperate to see some better cards in next week's opening, just because the deck is in serious need of some flexibility, some extra damage output, some consistency, pretty much everything. As things stand, I'm pretty sure if we had run into an Eternatus or a Centiskorch this week, we would have been steamrolled. Especially now, a couple weeks into the Darkness Ablaze meta, where people are already starting to optimize their decks. Maybe it is that I just got lucky this week, but hey, hopefully that luck will hold until next week, and we'll see some better cards, or we can dodge the giant claw and the big fiery centipede, at least for a little while. Okay, so if you guys enjoy the show, please like the video, leave a comment, and consider subscribing. As things are, this is still very much a hobby for me, but I gotta be honest, I am so over the moon to see you guys multiplying slowly but surely every week. It has me confident that, eventually people will realize that Pokemon Sealed Only is actually a thing. We may be a fraction of the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but I don't think we're any less passionate about this children's card game. And it's really great to engage with a lot of you guys, go back and forth with the comments. It's great to kind of discover this community that I didn't even know was there. And really, I'm just hoping that as I continue to put out these episodes, we can get more eyeballs on this series and the other great Pokemon Sealed Only challenges that I've seen popping up. If I was to ask you guys for a little bit of help this week, I would say, take the time to maybe just share the show with one person. Share some of the other shows with your friends too. Like, honestly, we just want to get as many eyeballs on this stuff as possible because it'll just help to build out the community. We'll have, hopefully, more Pokemon Sealed Only challenges popping up, which I know I would like to watch, and I'm pretty sure you guys want to watch too. So, hey, it's a win-win for everybody. So, yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys can help me and the other creators in this small but growing space bring more Pokemon fun to everybody else out there. And with that, I will get out of your hair. Until next time, guys.